Now at 939 minutes to keep the core together for a sustained run. Title odds, Celtics at number 1, then it's OKC, Philly, Denver tied with New York, and the Mavs and the Wolves. Are these Celtics set up perfectly, I added perfectly, to repeat?
Well, look, it's going to be hard because, this is the era of parity. We say that, but it's not just for fun. That's what it is. The last 6 champions, new teams, and we thought Milwaukee was going to maybe be a dynasty. Yep. We thought Denver might be a dynasty.
Some people stake their entire professional reputation on
Celtics.
And so I do think they should be the favorites because Denver is worse right now.
Yes.
They are worse than they were 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. All right, so there's that. OKC has had a phenomenal offseason. My only question, and I went against my historical knowledge in making our picks this postseason, because I felt, you got to go through something. In most cases, Minnesota was too young really to get there, and OKC, but I still picked Minnesota. And I think OKC, the only question I have about them is their youth. That's it. They were the youngest team ever to win the playoffs.
But they did get some experience last year.
Yeah. A little experience last year. Experience. But that's the only thing against them.
Better.
Dallas is definitely better.
Yeah.
And I think they're better suited to match up with Boston. I think Minnesota will just be better from the experience that they went through.
And will get better.
I think in the East, it's New York, in my view, because I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see everybody be healthy. Mm-hmm. So I hope
Philly got better.
They're definitely better.
Philly got better, and they have more of a margin of injury error.
Yeah.
Not for the postseason.
They don't have a ton of depth, but they're definitely better. I think Nick Nurse is a good coach. But right now I think Boston should be the favorite.
So here's the thing. So there is the very practical part, which is it was just kind of, sloughed off. Kristaps is supposed to be out for 6 months. Mm-hmm. That's Christmas.
So he'll be back, right.
You know what I mean? So that is, and I'm always a little hesitant on, this is, if the timeline is this, it's very rarely 6 weeks early, actually, we're back. But sometimes,
and he's had injury problems.
He's had injury problems. He injured one leg early in the playoffs. The surgery is on the other leg. So that now, the Celtics fans yelling at the screen, be like, oh, we just won the championship without him. So 100% that's true. You did, and it's legitimate. Mm-hmm. But that is already a little bit of a fly in the ointment, so to speak. The other piece of it is, we say this in the NFL, but it's true in the NBA as well, the copycat league part of it. The 2 teams in the league who, by a decent margin, shot the most threes last year were Boston and Dallas. And by the way, the gap between Boston and Dallas 1 and 2 was equal to the gap between Dallas and the 10th place team as far as. So I do think it's not just J.J. Redick in the coaching booth this offseason that's going to be like, let's shoot more threes. So the reason I mention that is I do think that was part of Boston's regular season edge, was they were playing the math game with a team perfectly built to do it. Everyone can't do that, I understand. But Denver was dead last in three-point attempts this year. They'll shoot more, just by even losing KCP by necessity. So I think Boston's margin goes down a bit in that regard. And it's not just history says that we're in the moment of parity, but history also says, man, repeating is so hard. Even though there's been a lot of NBA teams that do it, if you actually look at the trials and tribulations that those teams went through and that old Pat Riley disease of more thing.
I know, but everybody got more.
So
Jalen got his, Tatum got his, Derek White got his, Drew got his a few months ago.
Playoffs,
so everybody's getting paid, everybody's getting credit. And can I show you something real quick?
Yeah.
You remember, we know the bombing threes, obviously, they were way ahead, and it gave them an advantage. But do you remember, I don't know, Dusty, when was it when I came up with defense wins championships?
Oh, it was years ago.
It's a long time ago, but it's really caught on because a lot of people just think offense, and I was like, defense wins championship. Top 2 in offensive and defense rating. It's the Celtics this year, last year's Celtics, and the last time it was done were the 2 Warriors teams. 3 of those 4 teams won the championship. So,
but you think that's a lagging or a leading indicator? You think that's if they have that again next year, then they should win.
Yeah.
I guess, but the
team is built personnel-wise. The team
They
is
may
built to
not be
shoot
top
threes and
two.
play defense.
They'll be top 5.
Oh yeah, they'll be good.
top 5.
I mean, but the other, how much do you quantify hunger? That's what the disease of more is. Not just did everyone get paid. It's also do people get credit. It's also
you get complacent.
once do you get complacent? But you can't tell me they're going to be as hungry right now as the Knicks team. As Milwaukee, that just everyone's throwing dirt on. As Philly, who's proven nothing. And then all those teams out west. Denver, losing KCP or not, Denver, I'm certain feels like, once Jokic gets the telegram that they lost KCP, he's going to be like, man, we really left a championship on out there, and the other Minnesota, all those teams.
Here's the difference. Because I think this year Denver did suffer from the disease of more. Like, they clearly didn't look as hungry as a year ago. But when they won it, everybody praised them. Same with Milwaukee a few years ago. Everybody was, here's Giannis. He's about to take over the league. Then the same with Jokic. Now, I think this team has enough doubters. I mean, Tatum's got tons of doubters.
That's true.
Right? Still, like, well, we don't know how good he is. Is he the best player? Like, I agree with Wilds in that. I think Tatum and Brown together will be better next year because of the confidence. But I also think they're going to be hungry because I do think they feel disrespected. Everybody, even though the numbers say they're one of the best teams ever, we're like, no way. And even their most ardent supporters outside of Boston are like, no, I'm not giving them that. I don't care what the numbers say. And so I do, cakewalk through the East. Oh, next year here comes Embiid back. Here comes Giannis. They're going to be just as hungry. I think it's the same thing for Kansas City. They got something to prove, and I think it's the same thing for Boston.
All right, the final topic of the deep A block right now. Celtics are for sale. Team current basketball partners in Wick Grossbeck. The group said in a statement that, quote, after considerable thought and internal discussion, they've decided to sell the team for estate and family planning considerations. Something or nothing.
Well, it's just a funny line. They're doing some family planning, which is the family decided we wanted $5 to $6 billion. So I think it's something because of this. Even the richest NBA owners not enjoying the punitive nature of the new CBA when it comes to paying the tax.
That they forced.
And it's going to, I think, prevent the creation of the dynasties we're used to. So you have, like, I'm going to use the Clippers as an example just for a moment because they have the richest owner in pro sports. The Clippers, in that long press release or whatever they say, Twitter notes app they put out there, basically they kept mentioning the second apron and the second apron, but that didn't really jive because they were willing to give Paul George 3 years. It's like, well, the second apron stuff, it was, to me, they were using that as a reason to be like, we're going to make the team cheaper. The Golden State Warriors said on the record, the owner a few months ago, number one goal is to get under the tax. The Denver Nuggets have the guy who everyone says is the best player in the world at the peak of his powers and are just not retaining key role players. The Boston Celtics are the one team. They're like, we're going to keep everyone. And by the way, once these contracts are signed, I'm selling the team. So the point I'm making is we're yet to see an owner be like, I want to, except for Ishbia, I guess, but he's new, and I want to keep paying the tax, don't worry about it, and I'm not selling anytime soon. So I find that noteworthy. I find Mark Cuban selling the Mavs, as you know what I mean, Luka's entering his prime, and the Celtics going for sale right after winning the championship, that there is the business of the NBA, the reason fans should care, is going to start to impact really the teams that are fielded in the NBA, no matter how high achieving they are.
Yeah, and the owners keep doing this. Like, they put in these rules to protect them from themselves.
Yeah.
So I can't give so-and-so this much money. That's what they do. And now, like you said, in some cases it comes back to haunt them because you can't keep the teams together if you do have a great team. Now, their ownership group has been great. All right, they had not won any titles in the 90s. They come back and win in 2008, and then now they win this year. So they delivered 2 titles. Why it could be something is that if the next ownership group isn't this good, right? Isn't this sharp? Isn't this committed? They just buy it as an investment, but maybe don't want to spend the money, annually. that's where it could hurt. But look, they bought the team in 2002 for $360 million. Now it's evaluated at 4.7. It's probably going to sell for more than that.
Yeah.
So I can't blame them they got their rings. They're setting the team up. They're leaving them in great position. And now we're out. We're going to cash out. And that's where you make your money is the appreciation of the franchise. So I don't blame them.
Good job. Coming up after the